Alright everybody, Silverman92, hello, KJ in Ohio, hello, be a drinker. It's sucks that you're under the weather, but hopefully you get better. Let's see, anybody else? Tom Thumb, bring on the silver. Let's hopefully find some more nickels. That'd be great. So it's my second live stream, so we will see how things go. Just getting a few things set back up. There we go. And open my zero sugar Barks root beer, because it's going to be a box of nickels with me talking. So hopefully everybody is ready, and there we go. I've got a loose wire or something in one of my video cords. My second screen always goes dark if I move it just right, so. Alright. Seems like it's a little bit laggy tonight. It's supposed to be about a 3-second delay, but I guess it isn't. I don't know. It's a 7699 box. Don't know if that means anything, but we're going to go ahead and get into it. B Walrus 76. Awesome. Just doing some nickel hunt tonight. I picked up a few extra boxes and figured why not? No enders, nothing that I see. Do you have some older ones? That's at least a good looking candidate for an older one. But we'll move this up out of the way. Bring it down a little bit. Pa Spare Time was nice enough to give me a mat a while ago. And that is my knife. Got it. I kept it for my dad's. When he passed, I found that in some of his stuff. Winchester. So that's what I use to open rolls. So my way of doing it, I just stick it underneath, and sometimes I go right through, and yeah, I've cut myself a few times, but that's okay. A couple dark edges, but I doubt they're going to be anything in 2011, 2021. And for me, I just usually keep them in my hand and kind of go through them. So we're going to see. I haven't found many 24s. I've found, I think, about 3 or 4. So we're going to be looking for 2024s, 2009s. A push staple remover. Nice. It's one of those things that when I was a teller, I would come across mostly currency. But now I'm more into coin. I still have a big, huge currency collection, especially some foreign stuff. But we're going to be looking for, I found some proofs, found foreigns, found war nickels. Yeah, I'm looking at getting some flat magnets. Or flat head screwdrivers with a magnet on the end. It works great for when you come across one. You can, you know, if it might be a, like say a 43 or 44 on the penny, where it's the wrong one, you know, if it's magnetic, that sort of thing. I do come across 2009s a little bit, but the 2024s, I really don't. I don't know what it is, but yeah, I've only come across a couple. Yeah, there's sometimes when I'm opening them up, I've stabbed myself a few times, and it's like, well, oh well. If it's bad enough, I just kind of throw a super glue on it, and I'm one of those that... My mom was a nurse in the OR growing up, and we never really went to the hospital much. Usually she would bandage us up. When I see those kind, it's like super nasty on the edge. You know right away it's not a silver, but still good. When I was unemployed one time, I was opening a thing of cheese and I had put it in, and I forgot my finger was kind of hanging down, and I sliced right through it. So I have a big old scar on the end. It's still kind of numb, but since I was unemployed and I was like, I'm not going to go to the ER for get some stitches. It needed stitches. I just cleaned it up really good, threw super glue on it, bandaged it up. Yeah. So now I've still got numbness in that, but oh well. I do have kind of a cheat sheet thing that I keep here. Shows, you know, in case if I forget which ones. I just kind of made it up on, laminated it. Works out pretty good. So I scheduled it for 9 because I know my kids, they call me every night when they're not with me. And I knew that they'd be calling around 1:45 or so. So that's why I scheduled it at 9, and it was perfect timing because they called and I got off the phone just a few minutes before I went on to this. So tomorrow I am on call. I work at the hospital. And when I used to work the desk, I would work the ER and at nights and call weekends, that sort of thing. And when I took the position I'm in now, up in the accounting office, I told them I'd still help out, and that's been 5 years. But I like the money. I make basically in 2 days of call, I make about 40% of a paycheck in 2 days. So it's not too bad. Tim Ivans, hello. It's one of those things, just kind of getting started on the live stream part. I told myself if I hit 1,000, I'd start looking at seriously looking into getting a new computer, because mine, it was when I was doing my MBA. You know, it was great for that, doing papers and that sort of thing. But this camera likes to move around. Right now. But it had 4 gigs of RAM and a i3 processor, so it was way old, would not handle anything. So I hit 1,000, and then I had a few short videos that got 20-30,000 views on a couple of them, and it kind of took off. And so then all of a sudden I jumped to about 3,600. So I finally found a good deal on it and got a new computer and set it up. So I couldn't have an excuse anymore. They probably wouldn't know what to do with me if they put me on salary. They'd probably have to pay me a lot more than they would normally do. They would be nice to kind of get paid a lot more and not have to do call. I would be glad with that. I do call, it's 45 hours I do from Sunday night 10 p.m. until Sunday night, or Friday night at 10 p.m. until Sunday night at 7 p.m. when the my shift ends. So it's one of those that in those 45 hours, I usually end up working, getting called in about 20 hours or so. So those 20 hours basically give me almost a full week worth of work or pay. So I can't complain too much. My CFO is, I'm going to retire in like a year and a half or 2 years. So they hired a new CFO, and he stepped down to be the director of finance. And they were looking at maybe moving me to be like an assistant with him, so that when he retires I can just jump in. Don't know if that's still the plan or not, but I would definitely not mind that, especially if I was able to give up call. So right now I have my kids every other weekend, because when I'm on call I don't have them, just because, you know, it's one of those things that sometimes I am not home. The record I had is 21 hours straight being called in. From the time I entered the ER doors until the time I left, it was 21 hours straight. And that's not a record that I like to have. It's not the 75 high D. My record, I had 4 transfers in one weekend, and then I decided to smash the crap out of that, and I hit 7 transfers in one day. So 3 life flights, 3 ambulance, and 1 fixed wing. So it was one of those that I've set a few records that no one wants to beat, and I hope they never do. It's one of those things that sometimes it's fun to have a record, but sometimes I would rather not have those. And I've had a few, they go, oh, it's not that big of a deal, you just get called in, you just sit there, you know. So when I'm on call, I work in the accounting normally, 40 hours, you know, work week up front. But when I took that position, I told them I'd still help out. And so I check people in, do the insurance, make calls for doctors if they need to consult with St. George. I live in a rural area, so we're a critical access hospital, so we only have 25 beds, and that includes the nursing home. So a lot of our stuff, if it's anything that's going to need surgery or, you know, something like that, I get on with the call center and get a hold of them. 64D. Let's see if it's a D over D. I doubt it. I don't think so. I think it's more damage than anything, but I'm super familiar on the like D over Ds and stuff. That kind of the right part. I'll have to do more on that one later. But yeah, I do the calls. I connect the doctors. If they say we're going to transfer, I arrange either the life flight or ambulance, that sort of thing. And it can get kind of crazy at times. You have, you know, a heli come in, and you know, it's at night, and they don't usually come in when it's raining. or super stormy, so sometimes it has to be an ambulance. It's a 64, but it is not a D. And then I'm kind of an unofficial security. I used to work security in Grand Junction, Colorado. When I was going to school, I worked at the hospital there. It was a level 2 trauma center. So we would get called to the ER a lot, and it was one of those that, we would be there for any helis, any ambulances, anything that came in, we were there for. And it's a 1958. Let's see if it's a D, maybe. There is a D over inverted D. Let's see, I've never found one, but no, it's not an invert. Still a 50, so I'll keep it out to the side. I just keep 50s out. I like them. Yeah, the life flight is not very cheap. It's a 25-minute flight, and you're looking at double-digit thousands, 18, 20,000 type thing. And of course, when you're talking a stroke or a heart attack, something like that, it usually you'll hit the insurance deductible by then anyway. And we've had people go, I'll just can I have someone drive me over? And it's like, dude, with the stuff we've already done in the ER, you're already looking at a hospital bill of $6,000-7,000. Your deductible usually is not going to be more than that for one person, and we have to do what is best for the patient, not what is best for their wallet. And so, if something, a kid breaks their arm and they need surgery, yeah, we'll let the parents drive them over. That's not a big deal. But if you're talking a heart attack or stroke, you don't have a lot of time on some of those. We had one that we transferred out. It was, I think, the last weekend I was on call. Usually a troponin you want very, very low. Like 0.04 is kind of high. And this one had, I use Streamlabs. So I just have my other screen open, but I have the webcam group. I just mute my regular camera, and then it puts it over onto the scope, and then I can change it to the other monitor also. And that is also what I use to do giveaways, is Streamlabs. So at the end of the stream, you enter exclamation GAW, and you can, that's how you enter into it. But yeah, the troponin on this, it was like double digits, not 0.04. It was like 18. It was like, holy crap, I have never seen anything that high. Yeah, I haven't tried with my phone. I have a couple webcams. This one's a I can't remember the name of it right now, but it's a HD Pro. It's like a high def kind of a 1020 or something like that. The other one I have is very cheap and blurry, so I don't use it. It's one of those, sometimes these nice kind of looking ones, it's like, they throw me off for a second, but it's not like super fancy. Yeah, that would not be surprising with the hospital. Like I said, if we have anything, stroke, heart attack, anything that's major. Like I said, we're critical access, so we basically can get them stabilized and transferred out. So we don't do much of the other stuff. Man, that's a nice 72, or 1970 also, I should say. We just don't have, we're building a new surgery center. They're going to be able to start doing some day surgeries, like gallbladders, things like that. And they're also going to start doing maybe some chemo treatments. There's a doc that's possibly going to come and oversee that. And then they're also looking at dialysis, because here, if you go to St. George and you have to drive an hour and a half each way 3 times a week, it gets a little tiring, I guess. Ooh. So they're going to want to work on that. So right now they've broken ground. They're starting to put in some footings. They did a bunch of that stuff, but it's still not going to be done for about another year and a half. So we'll see what happens. I live in a rural area. The nearest Walmart is an hour in either direction, either east or west. So it's one of those that you can't just pop down and pick up a lot of things. For food, that sort of thing, I just buy it locally. You know, by the time I made a special trip just to Walmart, you're going to be spending more in fuel than you'd be saving. So it's not worth it to me. If it's something I need that I'm not going to be able to get here, usually you can get Amazon in about 3 days. It's not super quick being Amazon, but at least you can get it. You know, usually it'll say it'll be, you know, here tomorrow, and it'll be the day after that. Our mail takes forever. You can send something and someone can receive it. You know, they send a bunch of stuff out, and you know, people all over the country, you know, all at the same time, they get their stuff. Mine doesn't come for usually a day or 2 extra. That's a little darker, but yeah, I didn't think so. Sometimes those little bit darker ones, I'm assuming, are not going to be war nickels. Sometimes they are, not usually. My nickels were hot. My first box I ever opened had a 1899 V-nickel, I think. Yeah, not a problem. Hopefully you'll be able to get on and get in on the giveaway. I'm only on roll 11, and it's been 20 minutes, so figure probably at least another hour. But my nickel boxes just haven't been... Hides it when it snows, yes. The thing I got today from Amazon, I'd ordered it yesterday and then they sent it, and it said it was going to get here today, and I'm like, yeah, right. And it actually arrived. I had a little thing on the saying, you know, your package is on the way, you know, track it, and the little tracker dude was driving around and ended up actually delivering it when it said it was being delivered. A couple 64Ds, so we're going to check the D over D. Nope. I might have found one in my entire time. Some of those, I'm not the best at finding a few of those just because I don't come across them. 5 newspapers, and yeah. Got their $5 of pennies that had 5 enders. 3 rolls had nothing, but the other 7 had a total of 108 wheat cents. Wow. My best box, I think, had 70 something Wheaties in one box. And another one I had like, 60, a few in the 50s. Besides those kind of outlier ones, usually I'm averaging 15 to 20 Wheaties a box of pennies. My daughter likes to open pennies. Probably I like nickels more than pennies, but my daughter likes opening pennies, and 1975, but it's not the high D. You can see that it's below. If you find that high D, I've never found one, but one of these days you never know what you might find. And my daughter, she likes finding, instead of Wheaties, she likes finding leafies, because a Canadian is a leaf on it, and so she likes finding leafies more than Wheaties. So it's one of those, it's like, yeah, whatever. That's what she likes, that's what she likes. Only $5 a day. Yeah, I bet. Being here locally, there's only 2 banks and a credit union. The one bank wouldn't even talk to me. I told them, look, I'm not going to be returning coins to your branch. I'm just looking at ordering them. I can deposit, a few $1,000 into an account. The tellers passed my information on, and the manager just totally ignored me, not even gave me the time of day. So I was like, went down to the other bank, told them, and they were like, oh, we don't need to, you don't have to open an account, we'll just get you some. I was like, oh, sweet. I still went and deposited a couple grand in their account, and so I get my halves from them. Sometimes they charge a surcharge, sometimes they don't. I think it depends on who's working. Sometimes it's a $10 surcharge for picking up 4 boxes. I don't fight it too much, just because I've been able to get stuff from them. My credit union is where I get all my nickels, dimes, pennies, quarters. They've actually started getting some halves. I told them, if you ever get any, give me a call. And they're like, we might be able to start ordering some. So I was like, great. So they've been, yesterday is when I do the payroll for the bank, for the hospital. So I take the payroll check down and deposit it. And I think part of the reason why the regular branch does that is because I'm dropping $300,000 every payroll. That's for the entire hospital, for 150 employees, including part-time and EMS and that. So I take them cookies. The one time I took it in, it's kind of like a local bakery that everybody loves, and I took them in, and the one lady was like, what are these for? And I was like, because you guys are just awesome, and I like to make sure you guys are hooked up. And she was like, oh, you're the $50 guy. I'm like, yeah, I'm the $50 guy. So they've heard about me, and then she actually got to, see me and get cookies. I know her. She's a local lady. I guess she just never has been there when I've come in. Couple D's. We'll see if they're DODs. Sorry about the lagginess tonight. I don't know why. It's supposed to be on super low latency. And the other night it was a 3-second delay, and this one is, gosh, I don't know, 20 or something. So maybe I mixed up a setting. Guess we'll find out. Oh, 1954. Let's see if it's an S. Nope, it's a D. Still 54. I keep out to the side. I keep all the 50s and 40s, 50s, that sort of thing. 60s if they're like really nice, but usually they're not nice enough to keep. So it's one of those things that's kind of getting used to the streaming thing. It's something I never honestly thought I would actually end up doing. I only started posting recap videos at the end of, what, a year and a half ago. It was like the last couple days of December. So it's been not quite 2 years, and then I thought, nah, I'll never get to where I'll stream, but now I am. So you never know. I'm a moderator, a mod on Pause Spare Time, as you can see the Matt, he given me one. And he, you know, I was with him since his channel was just kind of starting out, and it was, you know, a few hundred, you know, 1,000, that sort of thing. And he had a few videos that kind of went crazy also, like 500,000 views on his short, and you know, a couple 100,000 on a different one, and he hit 100,000 subscribers. Got his plaque. He streams with his grandsons, and it's an awesome channel. So if you like hunting coins, definitely check out Pause Spare Time. And it's a fun channel. It's a family channel, kind of like this. You know, I do it with my kids, but he is a great asset to me. And 1963. So there is a triple die reverse on the 63s. I doubt it's going to be one, but you never know. Sometimes you might come across a, yeah. And then a couple 64Ds. I use a Tomlov microscope, and second, you know, hand-me-down. I got it from Pa. That's what everybody calls him. Oh, almost went right past that one. It was a 19. Come on, focus. It's 1947. Not a key date or semi-key or anything like that, but still. 47 is actually the year my dad was born. And like I said, I use his knife that I found when going through his things when he passed. And so whenever I see 47, I always have to pull those out. Even if I didn't, you know, really need them or anything. It's just one of those things that I would do that. Yeah, it's one of those, I figure you get better as you go along, and I'll just keep doing it. You know, hopefully get more views and hours and that sort of thing. I've got the subscribers. I never thought I'd even hit that level. At the end of my first year, which was last year, I expected to maybe be at 100 subs, and I ended at almost 500, 400 or 500. So it was like, wow, that's way more than I thought. So I'm way further along than I ever thought I would be. So, you know, it's one of those just kind of getting used to it. You can do some, I have some like mini game things set up through Streamlab. If you use, I think it's exclamation gamble and then the amount. Wow, nice. And see, I don't know why this Nightbot keeps popping up. I don't have it connected to anything, and I cannot for the life of me figure out why it keeps doing that. Like, I literally have nothing connected. I went in and removed it. '67 Centennial Rabbit Nickel. You must be a Canadian on that one. Yeah, I don't know the Nightbot thing because like I said, I literally do not have it connected. You know, it wants me to put it on, and I said no because it was giving me problems that first night, and I can't figure out why it's still doing that. All I know is I want to say night-night to the Nightbot. I have CloudBot, but yeah, Nightbot is literally disconnected, signed out of, you know, removed from all of it. But yeah, you can play mini games. You can do, I think it's exclamation gamble and then like an amount. I'm not even sure if anybody has points. I don't know if it's even set up that way yet. You're just trying to make Nightbot mad. It's a ghost Karen. Yes. I hate it when you come across the sticky nickel. I know that kind of sounds like a band or something, the sticky nickel. But sometimes it's like, ugh. I've been trying to set it up so that you can get use exclamation me, and it will post your channel. So if you know, if you're a streamer or anything, you know, do anything with your channel there, exclamation me should. I had it working the one night, and when I was testing it, and when I went and did the live, it wasn't working. So I don't know if I've got it fixed or not. But I guess we'll find out. What is that? 1970. Sometimes it's like, what is this stupid date? Working on getting some extra type of swags and stuff. You know, I have my pen and can bottle opener keychain thing. I actually ordered some like sticky note pads, with my logo on it. I was able to, do that. Found a kind of a cheap, and figured I'd see how that kind of looks. So I don't know if there's anything that you guys like something more than the other, but I'm always open to ideas. $1965. I am looking again at the screwdrivers, flat screwdriver with the magnetic end, so you can, if you come across something you're wondering if it's silver or not, like on a foreign, that helps out a ton. Hopefully this box is better than the last few I've had. My recap videos have kind of sucked on it lately because these boxes just not really much producing. Like, I was pulling buffaloes and proofs, war nickels, all kinds of stuff. And the last, I don't know, few months, all of them have been kind of dead. And on recaps, I do pretty much everything. I do my, of course, halves, just because it seems like a lot of people like the halves. But I also do the pennies, nickels, dimes, quarters. Quarters, I have never, ever, ever in my life found a silver quarter in a roll. Funny thing is I was going to the bank to dump a bunch of, a couple boxes of quarters. In the return, there's a coin machine at my credit union that I can deposit straight to my account. And it's not theirs, they just put it in their lobby, so they have nothing to do with that, so they don't care if I use it. But being I've never found a silver quarter, I look in my return tray before I start. I always do, because you'd be amazed at what people leave in there. And lo and behold, silver quarter, 1964. And I'm like, I can't find them in a roll, but I can find them in reject coin trays. So how ironic is that? It's like, I'll take it. That's the credit union. I went and they said, we have something for you. And pulled out an envelope. It had, I think it was, if I remember right, $12.75 or something. And they said, these are all silver. Turned out one of them was not. It was a 1965. But still, I mean, I paid face value for it. But basically $12 in quarters, face value, for a bunch of silver. Went to the bank, and the one, they know that I like, do the coins and stuff, and so they said, would you be interested in this one? They handed me, it was a Benji, it was really dirty and ugly. I said, absolutely. And it was a, I don't know, 61 or something Benji. But I mean, when you pick up what, $10 or something, what is it now, 11, 12 bucks in silver for 50 cents, can't complain. I've had them call me. I was actually out of town one day and they called me and they said, we have a star note, you like those too, don't you? And I said, yeah. Because I told them, everything that I look for, and, turns out it was a $100 bill. The serial number was not fancy. And I said, honestly, for $100, I'm not going to be able to do anything with it. I wouldn't get more than a few bucks, and then that's just going to get eaten in fees. If I did sell it, I said I appreciate it. If it was like 1s and 2s and stuff like that, and it was a cool serial number, low serial number, I would definitely come into town when I got back and buy it. But that I'm not going to put in my collection. It's honestly nothing. They're like, oh, well, that sucks. I was like, yeah, but thanks for, reaching out. But they've picked up a whole handful of 1976 $2 bills. I bought all of those off of them. Sometimes they just like to get rid of them. Still nothing. 2005's nothing pulling up, or 2009's nothing's pulling up. No 2024's. Like I said, I've only found, I think, 3 or 4. That's an older looking one. When I was a kid in the 70s, my mom worked in the law library at the local university. The librarian would have a roll of nickels from the Xerox machines, as it only took nickels. Got quite a few old ones, I bet. Another 64. All these old ones I think are going to be older or not. Growing up at I grew up in Wyoming, up in Casper, in the middle of nowhere. Windiest, one of the windiest spots in the nation. It's always ranked in the top 10 for windiest cities. And at that time, Casper was the biggest in the state, and it was 50,000 people. But there was a couple secondhand movie theaters in town, and this one, it was $1.50 for a movie. So you would give them $2, they would give you a 50-cent piece back, and everybody thought that was like the coolest thing ever. And thinking back, and it's like, how many silvers did I go through, in getting back in change that I never really knew much about until I was older. But, I mean, if you're finding silvers now, imagine how much you would have found back in... Whoa! Well, that was a coin explosion. And, I think a couple of them went into my trash bin, so... Oops. But yeah, it's like, if you're finding silver still in circulation, imagine back then how many I could have pulled out. And as I got into a little bit older, in I'd say mid-teens, I started realizing that 64 and older on silver, or like quarters and stuff, were silver, and so I kept them out. And I kept all my 64 and older nickels. I didn't realize that there weren't silver in all those years. And as I got older and realized that nickels were the exception, still turns out, had key dates and things like that in there, which is always fun. But yeah, it's like, I just wish I could have gone back and went through all my changes I had as a kid, getting those $50 as change and pulling out silver. When I was a teller, I was more into currency at that time. I was still always looking for coins, but currency was just the biggest thing. I was worked at when I was going to school. That one looks old. Let's see what year it is. I'm gonna guess, knowing my luck, it'll be like 1974. No, 1957. Just make sure it wasn't a 37 or something. I've had those where it looks like a 58, and you look again and it's like, nope, that's a 38. But yeah, when I was going to school as a teller, I was going to school, I worked as a teller. It was a drive-up building that had, it was downtown, so it was a business bank. And they had 6 drive-up lanes, and 2 of them were commercial lanes. And one of those had a huge, usually get the canisters, they're like, the normal 4-inch tubes. Well, the canister that they had was like almost a foot wide, 8-10 inches at least. And you could send, bags of coin and stuff in. So I would do the teller window on the commercial window, and I would do about 300 transactions in 6 hours. Everybody else would do like about 150. That's a 1953. Nothing super special, but we'll see if it's a D, which it is. So we can look for an inverted D. I doubt it will be. Nope. But I would do so many transactions, and I would have, like, our limit was supposed to be $12,000 in our drawer in cash. Nice. You're home safe and sound. At least I assume. But because I would have so much from the business part, I would have, 15, 20, 30,000 sometimes. And so I would just throw it in a separate drawer until I could go through it later. At the end of the day, go through and put it through the bill counter. And what they got to do was the senior tellers actually started having the other tellers buy, well, having food left out for you is always a good. Then you don't have to worry about making a sandwich and that sort of thing. I am divorced, so there's nothing left out for me. For me. I've been divorced, it was 2019, so coming up on 6 years in not quite a month. We're amicable, which is good. We have joint 50-50 custody, so kids are here sometimes, usually more on the weekends when I'm not working, just because when I'm on call, it's not good. But yeah, the tellers would buy their cash and stuff from me that they would need, and then I would buy all their what we called mute money, short for mutilated. So if it came in and there was drawings all over it, it was ripped, or it was, questionable stains, that's what we would call mute money. We would bundle it up and send it into the main office. They would send it to the feds to be exchanged and destroyed. So I would gather up all their mute money, because I would get a lot more than they would. And once I had enough, I would sell it to the main teller, and it just made it so much easier. I would get rid of cash in my drawer. The tellers could get the cash they needed for theirs, and the senior tellers didn't have to spend as much time bouncing back and forth, filling orders and that sort of thing. So it worked out good. So that's where I found a lot of my currency collection. I was always into currency. I had an uncut sheet of dollar bills that ended up getting cut up when my house was burglarized. The kids next door cut a few of them out, and so it wasn't completely cut up, and I have it kind of put back together, just not the way it was. But I would catch counterfeits because when you're counting bills, for me, I would put them basically backwards in between my fingers. So I would hold the bills kind of like here, and I could, you know, flip through them. And the color on the back was never right. If someone tried to use like an inkjet printer or something, you know, they tried to print something, it was just never correct. So I would catch counterfeits just by the color of looking at them. Hey, Jimmy Lucari. Look at the text message here. From my ex-wife, so figure that's needs to be read. There we go. I can't remember where I was at. Oops, I already had a stack there. I have ringtones for different people. Like my brother, I have a silencer type sound, you know, the, and because he's into guns, he has, I don't know, probably all kinds of guns. He has old guns, collector guns. One year he said if he hit his investment goal on returns, he would buy himself a 50 cal, and he bought himself a 50 cal. I've gone out shooting those before. It's always fun. Resin 8. Welcome. No, the super notes really weren't a huge thing. I mean, it was one of those that they were out there, but that was still back before all of them were colorized. And I mean, you're talking 2000, 2001, 2 area while I went to school, so it was still easier to catch the green. Usually the ones that you would catch for counterfeits, believe it or not, were 5s and 10s and 20s. We didn't really get many 50s and 100s. 50 cal mounted with 90 Chevy, that would be fun. Expensive shooting nose. Yes, they are. It's one of those that he would buy a case, an entire ammo can full, and I think that's 54. I think it's a D. We'll find out. No, it's an S. So there's a 54S over D or an S over S. I don't see either of those. And didn't think so, but yeah, it was usually 5s and 10s. The kind of one of the awesomest finds I ever had. It was a 1929 $100 bill, perfectly crisp. And my bank, they didn't care if you bought it. You would just basically exchange it with another teller, and then they would, you know, let you buy it from them. You know, you couldn't just say, I'm putting 100 in my drawer and taking this one out. You know, you had to sell it to them, and then they'd sell it to you. Kind of a roundabout way, but I understood why. When I bought it for $100, it was brand, like freaking looking new. No holes, no tears, no anything. And nice, 1940, I believe. Yep, 1940. Butterfingers tonight. There's no S, so there's a 1940 S over S option. That was not it. But the $100 bill was stolen. No, it's completely slick. I'll stick it under here and you can see. Come on. Yeah, just completely slick on that part. Still cool though. Thank you for reminding me. Another older one, I think it's 1953. It could be a 55. Let's put it under the scope because I can't see. I'm in my 40s. 46. So it's a 1953. So it's not the 55. 1955, if it was a Philly, would be a semi-key date, but a 53 San Francisco is nothing like special. Yeah, the scope, it's a Tomlov. They have one, another member that I subscribe to, Southern Metal. He actually has a special going on. I'm not sure when it ends, but you get some % off if it's Tomlov scope, and it's got a scale built into the bottom and all kinds of stuff. It's a sweet setup, and it's not expensive. I think it's like 40 or 50 bucks with the special right now. And 1957. Denver. But it has like the scale built in and everything. You can zoom down. This one I can zoom pretty good down. I mean, you can see how close I can zoom in. And but it's a Tomlov, T-O-M-L-O-V, and it was a hand-me-down from Pa Spare Time. Again, got the mat from him. I've been with his channel for many years since he started. He was very small channel. When I found him on Rob Finds Treasure, I'm sure most of you have heard of him. If you haven't, don't know why. But yeah, I found him when I was working nights, and came across it. And so when I was starting to do the recaps, I got some hand-me-down stuff kind of from him, and you know, scope, and this webcam, the light that I'm using up here. It was a gift, so he's helped me out a ton. I don't know where I'd be if I didn't have his help. That's a nice 2004. Very nice and shiny. I'll have to compare it. I don't think it'll upgrade, but yeah, we'll check. But the Tomlov, I have been very pleased with it. Being good picture, you can zoom in, you can actually take pictures and video with it. You can put memory card and that sort of thing, and capture images if it's not hooked up to your computer. So that's what I use. 1970. Nothing special. and love. Probably a cousin or something to Tom Love, if it's Ann Love. I'm crazy sometimes. Maybe it's a wife, a sister. Instead of Tom, it's Ann. I myself was gifted from past remodeling clients. A few decades of tables, lamps, PCs. Love it. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with hand-me-downs. I mean, it's one of those that, you know, first starting into it, you don't want to spend hundreds of dollars. And so when I was able to get those things, it at least let me start. And it doesn't take a ton. Even if I didn't get it from here, you can get a few cheap webcams and that sort of thing, microscopes. You can get quite a few things for under $100 for, you know, a stand, a microscope, a webcam. The software is, you know, free. I don't have the paid version of Streamlabs, but you know, you can pay extra to get extra features. Right now I'm just starting out. I don't want to spend a ton of money on something I'm just getting used to. Once I get into it or something, great. A triple beam for a scope. Yeah, I mean, sometimes the older stuff is better than the new stuff anyway. A 1962. Seriously, Nightbot, you're not connected. I have you logged out. I don't have you hooked up. I don't have you as a moderator. I don't have anything. I guess I'll have to go through and completely figure it out, why it keeps appearing if I've told it to basically go away and don't come back. No silver yet. The few from the 40s, but no war nickels yet. It would be nice to find some. Like I said, my boxes lately just have kind of sucked. I mean, you can't have great boxes all the time, but it would be nice if there's more than just a few, you know, 40s and 50s. But I won't complain. I've had boxes, like I said, my very first box. No 2024s. I think I found a total of about 3 or 4 in all of my boxes. I live in a rural area, so I don't know if it's something where there's just a big stockpile somewhere that is old. But I've only come across a couple of them. What was it, 100 and something pounds on the one that you had the other day when you weighed it? It was a 5-gallon one, wasn't it? I just throw them in. I have the bank that I get my halves from. Handfuls and nickels. We want to do a coin turret. Yeah, that would be fun. Idaho's not too far away. It's I'm southern Utah, so it's 5.5 hours to get to Salt Lake, and then I don't know how far you're from Salt Lake, but I'm guessing 4 or 5 hours from there. It'll be fun. 200. The 5-gallon was 100. Yeah, I thought it was 150 or something like that. You lift with your back in a quick jerking motion. That's how you do it. You don't lift with your knees. You don't be safe. You just quick jerk motion using all of your back. Guarantee you that's the best way to do it. 352 miles, so 80 miles an hour, about 4.5 hours. I guessed about right. It's one of those things that growing up in Wyoming, it wasn't measured in miles, it was measured in hours. It was 4 hours to get to Denver, 4 hours to get to Billings, 7 hours to get to Salt Lake, 4 hours to get to Black Hills. I bumped my thing, dang it. I had like a loose wire. Let's see if that works. It's a connector into my USB for the extra USBs, power, whatever it's called, I can't remember what it is. P.O. Box. Give girlfriend 5 water bottle full of pennies. She could have it if she could carry it. I guess that's one way to get rid of someone, if they can carry it. I've had people say, someone's going to break into your house and steal all your coins. And I'm like, dude, if they broke in and tried to steal it, they would literally be making multiple trips, hundreds of pounds of coins. You know, when you have 25 pounds of box of halves and quarters, and nickels are about 20 pounds, pennies, 18 or whatever it is, and you have 8-9 boxes of each pennies and nickels, 6 boxes of halves when I get the full shipment. If someone wants to carry hundreds and hundreds of pounds and make multiple trips, let them. I'll get home and be able to open my door and help them out, and as they come back in for another one, I'll have a gun ready for them. Retirees with weapons and cameras. Yeah. It's growing up in Wyoming, it was one of those, we always had guns. I grew up, there was probably about 15 guns in the house between everybody. I think right now I have 10 different guns. But it's one of those that I was reading a thing, and it was like the most guns per, capita and stuff like that. And I thought, let me guess, Wyoming's going to be in the top. And Wyoming was in the top. And it was by quite a bit. And I think it was Washington, D.C. was actually second. I thought it would be in Alaska or something. But yeah, when there's more cows than people, that kind of tells you that you're going to have more guns than cows. But a 22 to show and tell. Yeah, that kind of sounds like high school. We'd carry, big buck pocket knives. We'd go to school. Would have, rifles and handguns. After school, we'd go camping and stuff like that on the weekends. Now you even have a picture of it, you're going to get strung up and thrown in jail or something. But for me, I have, let's see, I have my 270 from when I was growing up. I have my dad's 30-30. I have a 22, another 22, a 22 pistol, 357. I have a 380 auto. I have a 9mm, a different 9mm. I have a 12 gauge. Seems like I'm missing something. But that's what I have in my safe. It's a big safe. I actually have two. I have one upstairs that has all my currency in it, and my big one down here has oh, and I also have another 270. It was my grandpa's. He worked at a liquor store, and in Utah it's state owned, and so we you don't just have any of them. And in a rural area, it was a wino came in and he did carving and stuff, and so my grandpa gave him his 270. That was back when it was kind of a handshake deal. You know, everybody was that way back then. And he wanted the family name carved into one side of the stock, and he carved like elk and tree and stuff on the other side. And so it has big Coles, C-O-W-L-E-S. I know, we're kind of strange. Most people think it's Cowles. But, oh, and I also have my AR. I forgot. I knew I was missing one. I have my AR-15, and I built myself. But yeah, my grandpa got it, and when my dad died, it's technically my older brother's, but his son isn't into guns, has never been around them, that sort of thing. So he was just like, you go shooting with your son, so why don't you just keep a hold of it, and if for some reason I ever do need it back, you can give it to me. But basically, consider it yours. Well, consider it my son's, so his nephew. So he was like, basically let him have it. It'll be his when I die. So that's kind of the coolest one. And then the 30-30 was the other awesome one that I loved. It was, you know, the John Wayne lever action type gun. And so that one was mine. And then my sister got my dad's 270, because we all, when we had guns, my dad had 270, so when my brother got his gun, he got a 270, so that if you're out hunting, you could just kind of say, hey, you know, I need some bullets or whatever. You could just exchange back and forth, not a big deal. Goodwill them. Man. Number one, I don't think they would take them. Number two, he could make a lot more money than Goodwill. That's when you want to say, good gracious. But, yeah. It was, so we could exchange, you know, if we were hunting or whatever, we could not have to worry about, oh, I have my bullets or you have yours, or, you know, they're all basically the same ammo. So when I got my gun, when I bought it, because we bought our own guns and everything, and had 270s. So that's why we all had 270s, was because my dad had one and we all had it so that we could interchange it and stuff. And growing up, everybody, it seemed like they were always having 30-06. My 270 would take down pretty much everything that it needed to. It's a 1958, I believe. It's a D, so got a few of these we'll check. So the 58, there's a D over inverted D. I don't see that one. There's a few of these 64s that I've kind of set off to the side until I had a handful. Nothing there. Sometimes I've come across them and it's like, some are just so damaged. It's like, even if it was, it wouldn't be worth anything. A 1 ounce Geiger. Here in Geiger would always kind of make fun of my dad. He had a metal detector and he always called it his Geiger counter. And he's like, yeah, go grab my Geiger counter. For some reason in his mind it was a Geiger counter. So of course, you know, when you're a kid, you have to make fun of Dad sometimes, and he didn't mind. It was kind of a joke. He worked oil field, so he was gone for months at a time. So I basically kind of grew up without having a dad around. So it was basically kind of mom. Oh, there's a 1946. There's 46. There's DDR on the Philly. Let's see if it happens to be one. Not that I'm seeing. No. Of course. But so of course I learned to, you know, cook and sew and, you know, mending and stuff like that. Laundry. And then my dad, like I said, he was rarely home because he was gone all the time. But he had grown up in oil field, and my mom was basically like, you grew up bouncing around city to city, you know, with your dad doing it. And she goes, I'm not doing that with my kids. And so they planted down, and we just stayed at the one spot that was in Casper. So that's where his company that he worked for was located. So he would drill in Utah, Wyoming, Montana, Colorado. I think that was it. He never went any of those. Like, he would drill clear up by Canada. Was it Havre, Montana? And one time he brought home a bunch of wheat. They drilled on a wheat farmer's land, and so he brought home a whole truckload of wheat. And my mom is still using all that wheat. You know, we put them in 5-gallon buckets and sealed them up. And it's still great wheat. Still tastes good. No problems with it. You know, there's nothing, no bugs or anything. And that was from when I was a kid. And homemade ground wheat bread. God, so good. Driller, yep. It hard work. And when the economy kind of tanked, it was, I don't know, 2008 or whatever it was, everything kind of went downhill. So there was no drilling. There was, you know, everybody was kind of out of job. He was, yep, my mom's still using that same wheat from when I was, from the 90s, whenever it was. Like I said, he brought home, he had a Dodge 3/4 ton extended bed diesel, and that thing was loaded down. He probably had 100 bushels, and it has buckwheat in it, you know, wild buckwheat, which makes it even better. And buckwheat, you know, flour is expensive, so this has buckwheat in it. You know, not a ton, but it's in it. But yeah. So just because something is old, like wheat or whatever, it doesn't really go bad. I mean, it's kept cool, so it's not, you know, in a heated area. It's in a shed. It's either downstairs or in a shed. It's always kept cool, so it's not, you know, the heat. You know, the heat can make, you know, any of those things kind of go rancid if you're not careful. Ooh. I'm going to pause this and take a look. Doesn't want to focus, so I'll put it under my scope. It's one of those that always throws me off because I always think it's a 59 and then I have to look at it more. So I'm sure you guys know, but a 39 Denver and a 39 San Francisco are key dates. Not semi, but actual key dates. So let's flip it over and find out. Most likely it isn't. And it's a filly. So there is a DDO, reverse of the 40. Not familiar with that. And there's also a DDR and a QDR. So it's funny when you say a QDR. Sounds like you're saying a QT. But yeah, I'm not seeing it. But you never know. I mean, that's what the hunt is. You come across a 39, and I've pulled key dates out before. I remember I was watching Rob Finds Treasure, and he's been hunting for that 1950 Denver. And it was probably one of my first boxes I had done, probably my 5th, 6th box, something like that. And I found the 1950 Denver, the one that he's been searching and searching and searching and searching. And I popped it out. So you never know what you're going to get. You can hunt forever and find nothing. You can be lucky and find it. Like I said, my first box I ever opened hunting, I pulled out a 1899 V nickel and a buffalo nickel, and I missed the trifecta on the silver war nickel by just a year or two. It was, I think, in the 40s. So it was one of those that was not a bad hunt. And you pull something like that you know, you're not expecting. You know, some people never find even V nickels, and I popped one of my first few boxes and had it. So the first time I found a 39, and I had looked and I thought it was a 59, and I was doing something. I stuck it under the scope for some odd reason, and it was said 39. I'm like, wait a minute, that's a 39? And I knew it had a mint mark because I saw it on the back before I had flipped it over. And so I knew it was going to be a key date. And it didn't realize it until the next day. I had found a key date nickel. It was like completely over my head that night. I was tired, I guess, and that's what happens. I am bad with insomnia. I can take multiple sleeping pills. You know, no caffeine, no, you know, wind down, no TV or anything, and I can be still totally awake until 1 or 2 in the morning. So some of those nights, even though I'm tired, I just can't sleep, I pull coins out and I would hunt them and kind of help, you know, relax a little bit. And that's when it was the next morning when I realized, I was like, wait a minute. So some of those, if I even think it might be something, but I'm just kind of tired, I'll set them off to the side and then go through them like on another day when I'm more alert, awake, I guess. I've got 5 rolls left. Five more rolls, and then we'll finish it up and do a giveaway. I'm sure you saw the thumbnail. That's some of the giveaways. Pulled a few things out. Most of it is stuff that I have not put away because I catalog all my stuff before I put it in my safe. And I have a few things out. Usually I keep most of it in there, but I use my spreadsheet. I have it on my channel page. You can download it as a Google Doc. Did I miss a find? It was a 1939, but it was a Philly, so it was not the Denver or San Francisco. So it was not the key date. It was just a regular 39. 39 is just a regular on it. Nothing super special, but it's the 30s, so I keep them out. But I have that spreadsheet, and so I put everything on my spreadsheet, and then I put it in my safe, and yeah, it's still sweet. I mean, I'll take it. So that's what I kind of grabbed, was some of the stuff I haven't entered in to my collection yet. Some stuff that I've kind of found just in the last month or two. On a lot of that, I don't, you know, stick it in. If on silver, if I find, you know, nice silver, like I had a Walker Ender, you know, stuff like that. I put in my spreadsheet and then stick it in the safe because, you know, it's silver, and that's more likely to get stolen than some nickels or some quarters. So the spreadsheet I have has multiple pages on it. I actually have it with the gold and silver spot price updates automatically. So then it calculates the total value, like melt value. I can put the numismatic value if sometimes it's more than melt value, of course. So I have a column for that, and then I have it added up so that it'll give me the top amount, whether it's the melt price, numismatic, or face value, or whatever, and adds it up and puts the total amount of my collection. And then I also have one that keeps track of the finds. I haven't updated that one for a while. I've made some changes on it, but I haven't re-uploaded it. On that, you have to upload it like as a Google Doc, and then my recommendation, because I'm an Excel guy, download it and save it as an Excel file, and then stupid Nightbot. I apologize for that. I've got to figure out why it's doing that. It is not connected at all. I'm logged out. It's not as a mod. It's not anything. I don't know. But yeah, I save it as an Excel file, and it keeps track of, you know, all my fines, percentages, you know, how many average silver per box for halves, or, you know, things like that. And I use spreadsheets all the time. It's just easy. I thought, no, I'll just, you know, I'll just write it down. And when I was getting a lot of my currency collection, I actually have all that entered with the serial number, the year, the country. I have probably thousands of pieces of foreign currency. That's a 1958. Nothing super special, but there we go. The one thing I've always wanted is a Zimbabwe, one of those $1 trillion notes. I never did get one, and now they're way more than they used to be. It's amazing how, like, I'll use Excel to, you know, make something, and people in the office will be like, oh, can you help me with whatever? And it's like, dude, this literally is 20 seconds worth of putting a formula in. And of course there's AI that they could use, but I guess they just find it easier to ask me. Last roll, and that looks like an older one. When it's an older one like that, I don't go in right next to the, you know, just shove it in. It's a 1963. There's a triple die reverse on the Philly, and that was not a Philly, so I'm not going to look for it. Sorry, I'm a little off camera. 1957. Another one for 50s. I pull 50s out. I know some people are like, nah, and throw them back. But, I don't know, I just figure if it's from the 50s, I'll pull them out, and nothing wrong with it. You know, even if you pull a few hundred out of circulation, I mean, you're not talking a ton of money. You know, a few hundred nickels, what, $5, $10, depending on how many you have. Yeah, I mean, basically that's what I do, is I just stick them all into one, you know, all the 50s together and all the, you know, 40s together and 30s together and that sort of thing. And then I figure down the road, someone might be wanting them. And it's always fun because sometimes you can give some of that stuff away to, like, kids or whatever, and you know, they think getting a handful of old coins is cool. Alright, nothing there. So let's look at my coins and see. Usually I keep the years and stuff separated, but for some reason I didn't. That's the 30s, the 50s, the 50s, 50s. I don't know why I have that one up there. 50s, 40s, 50s, 50s, 40s, 50s, 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 and the 40s. So I had one from the 30s, 3 from the 40s, and 10 from the 50s. So there you go. Not super bad, but I've always liked it. When I find a 30s, I feel that I'm sure some people will be like, it's a freaking penny. Well, yeah, but you know, I have a 1909 VDB, just not an SVDB. But I always feel if I get one from the 30s, the hunt is kind of worth it. Just kind of weird in my opinion for that, but I'm just going to stick these up to the side. And I'm going to start a giveaway. So if you hit exclamation GAW, you will be entered in to win. And a few things I pulled out. It was a little die chip on Washington's hat, not very big. It's not really worth anything, but some people, you know, don't have any of that. And if I can find it here, you can see it just at the very, very top. At the hat where it comes down. So it's a very, very tiny one. But, you know, yeah. I have a semi-key date, 1948, San Francisco. So that's the semi-key date, and a 48 San Francisco. The mintage is only 11.3 million. Write that on there. So that's a semi-key date for you and the giveaway. I have a 2009. I have one of them that I actually found at 2024. And there was no silver, but there is in this. It's a filly, and the year is, it's like 1943. No, 44. Yeah, 1944. So 1944 silver, a 2024, 2009, and then a 1948 semi-key date. And just a little die chip, like I said, nothing fancy there. That is the giveaway tonight. And then I'm also including one of my Dad Hunts coins bottle opener and keychain combo. And a pen. This one, it's multiple colors. I pulled this one out, and it's a Dad Hunts coin pen. So that will be in your package. I was going to say, I think it's still going. Did it stop? Well, it says it's no longer available to enter. So why is it not on here? There we go. So it looks like there's a whole 4 of you entered. We're going to pick a winner. And according to the rules, I do have it posted in my thing, but either 13 years of age with parent permission if you win, or 18 or older. And then if you do win, email me, dadhuntscoins@gmail.com. It's in the description of on the channel. Email me with your name and address and that, and I will get that sent out. We're going to pick a winner. Fingers crossed, you have a 25% chance of winning. And it looks like KJ in Ohio has won the giveaway. So make sure you email me, and I'll get this in the mail. Usually as soon as you get that, I get it in the mail the next day. In fact, I've also got it ready to go, except for just need to print a label on it. So there you go. You're welcome. Hope you had fun. It's one of those, like I said, it's still kind of getting new to it, but I appreciate you guys being here. I know there was more than 4 people in there, so someone obviously didn't get in. Maybe they fell asleep. Maybe I bored them to death. Who knows? But yeah, I found these. I came across, they weren't like super expensive. I thought, it's kind of fun just to have something. So I give them out to friends and that. They tend to like them. Bottle opener, and then you can also use it to like pry open things, boxes, that sort of thing. Yeah, growing. I just need to get the hours now. I've got plenty of subs because it just skyrocketed and kind of went out of nowhere. And I've got to write down the name before I forget. It's KJ in Ohio. GAW. So yeah, get that to me. If you ever have any questions, I'm always available. Send me an email. I'll always see what I can do to answer those. Like I said, I've got those spreadsheets. But the main thing is just kind of sitting there, kind of having fun. Listen to me out. Usually I'm listening to everybody else. And now it's my turn, I guess, to speak. So we'll see. But a few goodies, nothing super fancy, but yeah, just a small nickel hunt. So hopefully when I get better boxes, it'll be better giveaways. I would have given something away from the finds, but didn't really have anything to find. So, all right. I appreciate you guys. Until then, happy hunting. Yeah, I need to get the vertical. The vertical is a good way to grow it. I just haven't really ever, I mean, I can do it on this. I could set it up. It has the frame in it, so I could, see it. It puts like a frame right here, so I could still use the same cameras and stuff. But yeah, it's, down the road. I never expected to even be close to being where I am at right now. But I've come across a lot of people I watch. I've come across, channels that they were small and now they're big. So I always sub to anybody if I see sub to me. If it shows up in my, people that have subbed to me, I try to sub back. And, I always sub to pretty much anybody that needs it. So anyway. I'm going to complete that. I forgot to complete it, so it keeps track. Yeah, that's the nice with the shorts feed. You know, because people watch the shorts, it seems like more often. But yeah, I need silver in some of my rolls. I haven't had some for a while, but that's okay. It comes. Anyway, you guys have a good night. And I'm going to go ahead and close that out. Yeah, I got to fix that stupid chat bot. Like I said, I have no idea why. Because it's not hooked up to anything. Like, seriously. I tend to stream, well, we'll stream later at night, just because that's when I have more time. So I've got your pack ready to go. Just make sure you send that email. Yeah. All right. Well, enough jibber jabbering. We're going to say goodnight. And thanks for watching.